Hey everyone, it's Tom here for another interview segment on Down in the Hole. Definitely go and check out the first one with Michael Ornstein. Today we are joined not by a famous fan, but by someone who's actually played on a Tom Waits record and has guested on some incredible songs off Alice. You'll know that me and Sam are just giant acolytes. We worship that album. It's an incredible achievement by Tom, and made in part by some of the contributions of my guest today. And it's such a treat to have this man on the show, this man who has guested on I believe it's 7 Alice songs and played even more instruments on those songs. Bebe, how's it going, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine here in Denmark.
It's great to have you on, a real treat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So, just before we get to Waits, you play so many instruments on this album. Were you always someone who was interested in, different ways of approaching music?
Yes, I think you could say that. I've been doing theater music for 35 years or something. Mm-hmm. And in theater, it's very often needed that you play several instruments. And I've made something of, I'm a maniac, I think. Right. I don't have any main instrument. I play, almost all instruments, but very poorly. That's my trademark.
Right. And getting forward into a more professional concept then, how long, you've been performing for quite a while. It looks like I've got an early release here from the 80s. So Waits came along, into the picture.
Yes, I've been a Waits fan since late 70s. Mm-hmm. I think it was the Tom Traubert blues that turned me on. And then I started adopting a little bit of his style, in music. And then in 85, he came to Gothenburg, where I lived at the time. And it's still, I think, the best concert I've ever been to. I was really, really inspired, but I was already playing music in his kind of style or whatever. And then in 88, we started a band called Bad Liver in Gothenburg.
Right.
Playing Tom Waits songs translated into Swedish.
Yes. What was in the set? What did you play?
Well, we had 40 songs or something.
Damn.
All in Swedish. And we made an album in 89, and we sent a copy, of course, to Tom, and he loved it.
Yeah?
And he still loves it. I've heard him, I've read he said in interviews that he don't like people doing his songs so much, except for the Swedish band Bad Liver.
Oh, okay. I need to check this out. Yeah, not heard of that. Shame on me, yeah. And every listener as well, I'm sure, is scolding me. This is an impossible question, but it's interesting to hear what people say. What is it about Waits? He's such a multifaceted performer in so many different dimensions. Is there anything you can pinpoint that you really love about his style, his music?
I think it's the rowdiness. Do you say like that?
Yeah,
his I don't like music to be too perfect, and he doesn't either. So it's very much like we have the same approach there.
And going through then beyond the 85 concert, so I guess that was the Rain Dogs tour you saw him on there?
Yeah, that's right.
Was that Mark Ribot on guitar?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so much of Waits, it's not. There's so many bands that I love where all of their dates, like the Beatles or whatever, all of their dates are online, where they were every living second. But Waits is a bit, it doesn't really have that. But yeah, people let us know about that Gothenburg show. Going through, then getting into the 90s, Bone Machines, Night on Earth, etc. Still a big fan, I imagine.
Oh yes. And I have an interesting story there actually. Mm-hmm. My grandmother got a pump organ in 1899. She was born she was, and I got it from her when she died in 66. Mm-hmm. So I'm the second owner of that one. And in 1999, a Swedish production company called me and said, "I guess you are the guy if you want to track down an odd instrument." Well, yeah, might be. What kind of instrument? Well, a pump organ. Okay, I have one, but it's 100 years this year, and I don't want to, lend that out. But who is it? It's Tom Waits. Okay, you just said the magic word. So he had that for a European tour in '99. That was
crazy.
How we met the first time in person.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about that then. How did that come about?
Well, he remembered the Bad Liver band and everything.
You like tied together like it was fate. All these little inferences. You're in a cover band, and then the pump organ. It kind of almost feels inevitable.
Yeah, that's right. And then we heard rumors about this theater play in Copenhagen being set up by Bob Wilson and Tom's music. And we heard he had been asking around about us. So we thought, we opened a bottle of champagne and, had a celebration. But then nothing happened. So like half a year before the estimated premiere, I called the theater. And they said, oh, we didn't know that you still existed. So now we have a Danish band, Right. They have already been, practicing for a month or something. And I was really mad at this guy because obviously he hadn't, tried to reach us at all. But there is, some hostility between Denmark and Sweden. So okay. I guess that's why. And the next thing was that Tom called me at home and said, well, I heard about this. It's a pity, really. I think we should have done that in a different way. Right. But can you be in the band? I mean, we can't obviously change the whole band, but can you be in there as a multi-instrumentalist? And I said, oh, yes, of course. And maybe you can be the musical director, he said, because you know my music, I know that. And this guy in Denmark, I don't think he knows the music too well. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, you have to know this about Sweden and Denmark. It's not a good idea if they have a Danish band and I come later as a Swede saying, well, I'm your new musical director. Hello. So I said, maybe we could share it. So we had a shared musical directorship.
Nice.
Me and Bent Clausen, who turned out to be an extremely nice person. So I've played a lot with him since. So it was very happy, the whole thing.
And how surreal was it preparing, rehearsing, like being this mega fan? I mean, you can believe it.
Yeah, which started with Tom asked, can you come here and help me arrange the songs? Yeah, of course. So we had a date and I flew to Copenhagen. I lived in Stockholm at the time. I flew to Copenhagen and met Bent at the airport for the first time. Hello. And then we took a flight to LA and rented a car and went up to Tom's and, got acquainted in the car. And then we met Tom in the evening and we just started playing immediately. And none of us had played with any of the others before. And it, worked like, perfect from first, second.
And those shows then, like, who was in the band exactly?
In the theater play?
Yeah.
We were like 7 people. Mm-hmm. The legendary bass player Hugo Rasmussen, who is now dead, unfortunately. Right. And we had a cello player and a saxophone, bass clarinet, and a trombone player, and then Bent and me. So that makes 5, yeah.
and what was the music you were playing? Was that Alice or?
No, that was Wojciech.
Right.
Wojciech, so which turned out to be the album Blood Money.
And so going forward from there, then the offer was extended for Alice, like to come on for an actual studio album.
Yeah, I mean, we started to play the Wojciech play in Betty Nansen Theatre in Copenhagen, and it was a huge success immediately. And we toured the world for like 3 years with it, playing everywhere. And during that time, Tom asked me and Bent if we could come to him and record the things. And I was there, I think a week before the others, because I was anyway in the States. And well, we had a week for ourselves, Tom and me. And he said, I mean, this was surreal. We were having a coffee break, and he said, well, I mean, we could do this album just you and me. I mean, but now I have called these guys, so I can't stop that now. But I mean, we could do that. That was great hearing.
Yeah, and the creative process, as spontaneous, as incendiary, as magical as people make out, like collabing with this guy.
Yeah, absolutely, magical and very improvised everything, and the amount of noise and kind of bad sounding music that he prefers is beyond belief.
Right.
I mean, we played one song where I played the bass, just following. I never heard the song before, so I just followed his left hand. And he places his left hand a little bit, not like everybody else. So it was a little bit hard. And then at one place, I thought, okay, now I know it. So I played really hard, Here Comes the Bridge. But it wasn't. So I played one note really out of it. And then when we listened to it, this is good, this is good. And we, passed that note, and this is really good. And I said, could I go in and just change that note? And he let's play it again. And he listened to it. Well, it doesn't bother me, but if you really want to, and it was so, wrong, that note. I mended that.
And was Kathleen there at all? I know she's always there creatively.
Yeah, she was there. Not all the time, maybe, but a lot. Yeah.
And I mean, this, you're on so many songs on the record, and
I think I'm on some more actually, because there was some little bit hard for them to remember who played what.
Yeah.
So I think I play a little bit more on more songs, but anyway, yeah.
It was 8 songs. I said 7 for it's 8. So Everything You Can Think, Flower's Grave, No One Knows I'm Gone, Cominisu Spade, Poor Edward, Tabletop Joe, Lost in the Harbour, Fish and Bird. I mean, these are some of the choice Waits cuts. Like myself and my co-host Sam, Fish and Bird is one of my all-time favourite songs there by Waits, and yourself playing clarinet on that beautifully.
Yeah, and viola.
And viola.
Yeah. Maybe it doesn't say, but that this string quartet was actually my idea. I'm really proud of that, because at some point I said to Tom, maybe we should have some strings. No, I was drowned in strings in the 70s, he said. Yeah, I know that, but I mean, not that kind of strings, not Hollywood strings, but like a Baroque quartet consisting of skeletons playing. Might be interesting. So he called his, I think it was his cousin, Dawn.
Oh, that's his cousin, is it? Dawn Harms?
I think so. I'm not sure, but anyway, relative. And she came up, and we had Matt Brubeck on cello already. And I said, I can play a little bit something. And we had, of course, Larry, who has never seen a bow, I think. But he played pizzicato. So, and Tom said, you can try to figure it out, and because I'm being late tomorrow, so you can start this quartet up. And we sat down, and I borrowed a viola from Dawn, placing it between my knees. I always play that way because it's hard to have it under your chin. And we just started with playing some F major things, going up and down, and it started. And I said, play like Baroque musicians, no vibrato and that kind of thing. And it started sounding really nice. And I was placed in the studio, so I saw the studio door. The others had their backs to it. And I saw Tom coming. And he opened the door a little bit and stood there listening for a while. And then he just entered and said, let's record this. And then we did like 3 or 4 songs in an hour, as I remember.
An hour?
Well, maybe not, but really fast. And I think it turned out very well, actually.
Yeah. I mean, some of the highlights of Alice are that quartet that you mentioned, that sort of diaphanous interweaving of melodies there, and just so emotive. Like Lost in the Harbour, for example, that huge accompaniment, it goes from this kind of abstract swirl to a real cushioning in the chorus.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's absolutely, I can't believe you're on, you wrote some genius stuff here, goes without saying, and, throughout various instruments for different, circumstances. What is the baby bass? You play it on Tabletop Joe. What is that as an instrument?
It's actually just a small double bass. Tom has it. It's very bad, extremely bad bass, and very small. So, but that was what we had. So.
And again, that song is just completely different from the two we discussed before. A totally different environment. Stuart Copeland of the Police played trap kit on this.
Yeah, it was actually, I don't know if I can say this, but okay. Tom was very happy with the band that we had in the studio, and he said, I have this guy calling all the time and he wants to join us, but I mean, I think we are fine, but I mean, he's calling and calling again and again and again. So I said, well, come up then. And Stuart sat down at the drum kit and started playing, this kind of, old jazz style, which songs. I mean, and then Tom, he went into him in the room, and he had big bowl of sticks and all kinds of mallets and stuff, and he started putting other things in his hands too. So he had like 3 sticks and mallets and things in each hand. So he looked like scissor hands. And then, well, that's what we used. So he couldn't play his normal brilliant style. So he was really hindered by having 3 mallets in each hand.
And I mean, Ben Clausen's piano as well there, like that guy's.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think no one has ever played a piano solo with Tom Waits before.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Tom's on pump organ there, and a stellar vocal performance. These songs just defy description, really. Poor Edward as well, viola on that. Is that the intro melody line? Forgive my Philistine ears. Like, what do you play on that song?
Poor Edward. I play viola. Yeah, we had the quartet on there.
I mean, just a heartbreaking song. I mean, and a true story, I think.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you one thing. When Tom entered the studio and heard the quartet, he said, "Let's record this." Yeah. Just one minor adjustment, he said. And he went up to Dawn and took her very fine violin from under her chin, and he placed it gently on a table, and he replaced it with a very cheap Chinese straw violin copy. Now, let's go. So she had to play this really, that kind of violin instead.
Yeah, I mean, you hear some of that in No One Knows I'm Gone as well. I mean, just... So, how long were you in the studio then to write? Just a week all this was written in?
No. I think we were... I think we had a month or something, but after 2 weeks we were done with the Wojciech songs. Yeah. So Tom said to us, I really had promised myself never to record Alice, because he was so pissed off when his demos were stolen and put out. But I mean, I feel so good with this band, so are you up to it? Yeah, of course. So we made another album.
Yeah. And an album that is, regarded as one of the best of the 21st century.
Yeah, I love it anyway. And I think for me it's not because I'm playing on it. I think it's the one of the best Waits albums.
Yeah.
Because it's so much. I'm very much into Baroque music and that kind of thing, and Bach and that kind of. And so this is the most. I mean, his melodies here are astonishing. I think it's so beautiful.
I mean, Flower's Grave, we haven't spoke about. That's again got a gorgeous chorus.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. All of them, I would say.
Yeah. No, there isn't really a dud here. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned best albums just then. Like, what are your favourite Waits albums out of interest?
I think Alice is my favorite, and I mean, might be a bit stupid to say, but I don't think it's because I'm on it.
No,
I think it's just the way it sounds actually.
Yeah. It's definitely got a unique, mournful quality bestowed by you and all the other musicians there. I mean, Ara Anderson played a lot on the record as well.
Yeah, I don't remember if he played things when I was there actually, because some things happened when I had gone. For example, which was very sorry for me, Tom realized that Alice, the song Alice, where I played the alto solo, was too, I think it was too slow or too fast. I don't remember. Okay. So he made a new version of it, and then I was, back in Sweden. So he said, unfortunately, I had to make what's his name, Colin, play your part.
Right.
And I mean, of course, it's a beautiful song. I would have liked to hear it with me, of course.
And what was the schedule like in the studio sessions? Was it just kind of laissez-faire, you go in, go out, or?
No, it wasn't. We had pretty, like starting at, I don't remember, like 10 o'clock or something, going to 6 or something. So it was pretty, office time.
And did you listen to the remastered version of Alice that came out about a year or so ago?
I have, but I haven't. I don't listen that much to music, so I haven't heard it that much. And I really can't hear the difference, I think. So I haven't really done an A/B test or anything, so I don't know what's new.
And, I guess finally then, just on the Alice sessions themselves, I mean, any great memories you've always wanted to share of Tom? Like, it sounds like a dream here.
Yeah, it was a dream, actually. And strangely, I mean, for being such a long-time fan, I mean, it could be like, shitting your pants, meeting your, idol or whatever it's called. But it wasn't that way. It was very much like, hello. It was like we've known each other for years. We talked a lot about, having children and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And politics and that kind. So it was really, he's very down to earth,
And interactions beyond that, creatively or otherwise, do you guys stay in touch? Did you record again?
We have been a little bit in touch since then. Mostly like sending greetings for the holidays and that kind of stuff. But there also was some plans on working together again a couple of years ago in Denmark, but I don't think they could finance the thing or something in the end. So, but then we had some contact to me and Bent and him. So, but nowadays we are not really in touch.
Yeah. Have you listened to much of his later material, like Real Gone, Bad As Me? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think I know his work very.
I mean, Real Gone 2 years later couldn't sound any different to Alice.
Yeah, and Bent was on that tour. I was so envious, but that was all right because he didn't need my instruments, but he needed a marimba and a vibraphone and banjo, which Bent plays really nicely. Yeah, I love that, really. And I really also love old blues music, and that was more like that kind of thing. And I really would love to have played that with Tom too, that kind of music.
Yeah, it would have been nice for you to be called up for like Orphans or something, but he's not retired yet.
I don't think so. I mean, he's very what you call it. He reluctantly leaves his house, I think.
Right.
He's been like that for years. I think he just loves spending his time in his backyard banging on things.
Sure. But I think we'll get another album or two, but you've still got the film roles and whatever. But yeah, as we always say, Alice is a masterpiece that we and millions of us cherish. Like, you've recorded on a lot of things, I know, and a lot of different genres. Like, where would you rank Alice personally for you as an achievement in recording?
Well, I think it's right there in the top.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I'm most proud of, in a way.
Yeah, it's just incredible, as we've said many times on this episode, and, on behalf of all the listeners as well, just want to say thank you really in earnest, because I love this music that you created, and these 8 songs are sublime. Like, just for yourself in general, is there any way people can keep up to date with your releases and stuff like that?
I'm not so good at releasing my music.
Right.
I haven't, I said when I was, 30, that's 30 years ago, I said I should make a solo album, but it's not out yet. So, but maybe it will come. You can check out my SoundCloud. Is that the name? I have put some music there, old theater music and stuff. So, but and maybe in the future there must come an album or 10 from me.
I hope so.
I have so much music, but and I have a studio at home, so I mean it's really easy for me to do it, but I never seems to come around to do it.
No, it's remarkable, really. You've guested on this, album that's beloved by people, but your online presence is pretty much nil. Like, I've been trying to find, YouTube stuff or whatever. Discogs is a good source. There's you playing a Bob Dylan cover on YouTube.
Bob.
I think it's like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, might have.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's the only one I found. Yeah, but we need to get that music out there. I'll put the SoundCloud down below as well. And I mean, what are you doing at the moment? What are you working on, out of interest?
Right now, I'm in Aarhus playing with the Royal Danish Theatre, King Arthur outdoors thing with 80 people on stage and 25 horses and 10 motorcycles. That kind of music. A friend had written it, Kenneth Tordahl written the music, and that's great fun. But this autumn we are playing an old Greek play by Aeschylus. It's an English adaptation that was really big a couple of years ago, written by David Grieg,
Okay.
and it's called the Suppliant Women.
Okay, the Supplicant. Yeah,
Suppliants.
Supplicants. Yeah.
Yeah, and with music by John Brown, an Irish composer. We are playing that this autumn.
All right, excellent. Well, again, this has been such a treat for me personally, and I know everyone listening as well. This has been a great deep dive reminisce into the Alice record. Bebe, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.